Leo sat quietly on the shuttle as it floated through space toward the university station. He looked out the window, watching stars drift by like glowing fireflies. This was his first year at the Galactic Unity Academia, a place where humans and aliens studied together in peace. He was both excited and nervous. It was a big change. The shuttle landed softly on the docking platform. Leo picked up his small bag and followed the line of other students into the station. A robot guide handed him a room card and said, "Welcome, Leo. You have been assigned to room 312 with a Nihilari student." Leo blinked. Nihilari. "They are an aquatic species," the robot replied. "Please be respectful of cultural differences." Leo nodded and walked toward the residential area. He wondered what his roommate would be like. He had never met a Nihilari before. Most people said they were peaceful and shy. Some even said no one had ever seen what they really looked like. Room 312 was quiet when Leo arrived. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the room was divided into two parts. One side was dry and simple with a bed, desk, and small screen. The other side was sealed behind a transparent dome filled with water. Strange glowing plants floated in it, lighting the space in soft blue. A tall figure stood in the water dome. She was wearing a shimmer suit that covered her entire body, even her face. Her skin looked like liquid silver under the water light. When she turned to face Leo, her eyes glowed faintly through the suit. "Hello?" Leo said, trying to sound friendly. "I'm Leo. I guess we're roommates." The alien nodded slowly. "I am Renari of the Deep Clans. I accept this pairing." The voice was smooth, almost musical, and echoed slightly through the dome. Leo smiled nervously. "Nice to meet you," he said. "I've never had an alien roommate before." "I have never lived with a human," she said calmly. "Let us try not to disturb each other." "Deal," Leo said with a small laugh. Days passed. Leo followed his classes during the day: astronomy, alien languages, and xenotech basics. He met students from many different planets. But every evening when he came back to the room, Renari was always inside her dome, either floating silently or reading alien books through a projector. She rarely spoke unless necessary. She never removed her shimmer suit. And every time Leo asked a question about her people, she would change the subject. One evening, Leo returned early from class. He was carrying snacks and humming a song. The room was quiet, and the lights were dim. He called out, "Renari, you in there?" No answer. Thinking she might be out, he walked toward the shared washroom. The door slid open. Leo froze. Inside, the air was full of warm steam. And there, standing by the pool-shaped bath, was Renari. But she was not wearing her suit. Her body shimmered like crystal water. She had no visible arms or legs, just flowing shapes, like ribbons of light and jelly. Her skin glowed softly in patterns that moved like ocean waves. Her head was smooth, with long glowing tendrils instead of hair. She was beautiful in a strange, unreal way. Renari turned slowly, her wide, glowing eyes locked onto Leo. For a full second, neither of them moved. Then Renari let out a high, soft sound, not a scream, but something like a note of music that trembled with fear. Leo quickly stepped back. "I'm sorry. I didn't know you were inside." I didn't mean to." The door shut before he finished speaking. Leo stood outside the washroom, heart pounding. He had never seen anything like that before. She looked so different. Not like a human at all, but not scary either. Just unknown. Inside, he could hear the water bubble faintly. But Renari didn't come out. Not that evening. Not even after he left a message saying, "I'm really sorry. It was an accident." The next day, Renari was still inside her water dome. She didn't speak. She didn't come out. She didn't even turn when Leo walked in. Leo sighed. He didn't know what to do. He felt terrible. It had broken her trust. At lunch, he visited the Alien Culture Club. It was a small room with pillows, scents from many planets, and posters about interspecies respect. An older student named Tycho Part Lizard listened to Leo's story. "You saw a Nihilari's true form?" Tycho asked, surprised. "It was an accident," Leo said quickly. She didn't say anything, just looked scared. Tycho nodded slowly. Neolari revealed their forms only to family or bonded ones, never to strangers. For them, it's deeply personal. Like showing your soul? Leo felt worse. So what should I do? Give her space, Tycho said kindly. Prove you care about who she is, not how she looks. That night, Leo didn't say much, but he quietly placed a small earth flower, simple sunflower, in a jar near the edge of Raineri's dome. He also left a note. I don't care what you look like. You're still my roommate and my friend. I'll wait until you're ready to talk. He didn't expect a reply, but the next morning, taped to his desk screen, was a folded paper. It showed a drawing, childlike, but careful. It was Raineri, in her true form, standing next to a small human. Underneath it, a single word was written in her script, with a translation beside it, friend. Leo stared at the drawing in silence. The soft lights of the dorm room made the paper glow a little. The lines were gentle and smooth. Raineri's alien form looked peaceful next to the small stick figure of a human. Underneath the word friend made his heart feel warm and heavy at the same time. He smiled and carefully placed the drawing on his shelf. He didn't say anything right away. He knew it meant a lot. To the Neolari, showing true form was more than just skin, it was showing the heart. That evening, Leo came back from class a bit earlier than usual. He walked in quietly. Raineri was floating in her water dome again, her shimmer suit back on. But she turned toward him. Her voice was soft through the dome's speaker. You did not tell anyone? Leo shook his head. No, I didn't. I never will. There was a small pause. You saw something meant only for kin, she said, but you looked kindly. Leo sat on the edge of his bed, careful not to get too close. I was surprised, yes. But you were beautiful. Not just your form, I mean. It felt like watching the ocean breathe. The water inside the dome moved gently. Raineri did not reply for a moment. My people were once feared, she said at last, because of how we look. Because of what we can do with water. Leo leaned forward a little. What do you mean? Raineri looked down. We don't just live in water. We shape it, feel it, command it in some ways. Some races feared us. Long ago there was war, so now we hide. We cover ourselves. We do not show the truth to those who might run away. Leo frowned, but not everyone would run. Didn't? You are different, she whispered. After that day, things began to change between them. Raineri started speaking more. She still wore her suit, but she no longer stayed quiet all the time. She asked questions about earth food, human music, and what it felt like to walk on land. One night, she asked, do humans fear the deep? Leo thought for a moment. Some do. Some are scared of the ocean, of what they can't see, but others love it. They dive in and explore it. That is like us, Raineri said. We live in depths where others will not go. But we also explore the stars. Leo smiled. Then we're both explorers. They were given a science project by the Schooler Group Challenge. Each team had to build a small energy device using something from their own species, skills or culture. Leo and Raineri decided to work together. Raineri suggested using water-based currents and soft crystals from her world that could hold energy. Leo used his knowledge of human tech to build a structure that could contain it. Working together wasn't always easy. Raineri's way of thinking was fluid like water. She would change ideas often. Leo liked clear plans and steps, but they learned to understand each other. While they worked, they laughed sometimes. Leo showed Raineri how to whistle, and she showed him how to hum with her voice in different tones that made the water in her dome ripple. They even began to share stories. My brother once swam too close to the deep rocks, Raineri said during one late-night session. A shadow almost took him. I called the water and pushed him up. You saved him? Leo asked, eyes wide. I tried. That's when my power woke. I was very young. Leo leaned back. That's incredible. I do not talk about it often, she said. I don't want others to be afraid of me. I'm not afraid, Leo said. I'm lucky to know you. One afternoon, they were testing their project near the school Pondicom Artificial Lake. On the upper level of the station, they had set up the small water energy system by the shore. Raineri was adjusting the crystal placement, her shimmer gloves glowing softly. A group of students passed by laughing loudly. One of them, a boy named Yarrow, stopped and stared. "Hey," he said, squinting. "Is that a Nihilari hand I see? Not so secret now, huh?" Renari froze. Leo stepped forward. "Leave her alone, Yarrow." Yarrow smirked. "Just saying. You share a room with her, right? Must be fun living with a fish." "A fish built this project with me," Leo said sharply. "She's smarter than you'll ever be. We're to—" Other students looked surprised. Yarrow rolled his eyes and walked away, muttering something under his breath. Renari didn't move for a moment. Then she looked at Leo. "You didn't have to speak," he replied. "You're my friend." She looked down at the water. "Thank you." That evening, Renari left another note on Leo's desk. It was written in both her language. In English, "I have never been defended before, but today was new. I am learning to feel safe." Leo placed the note next to the drawing from before. He smiled to himself. Their friendship was growing, not because they were the same, but because they chose to understand each other. The next few weeks passed quickly. Leo and Raineri's friendship became stronger with each day. They spent more time together, not just for their school project, but also as roommates. As friends, even though Raineri still wore her shimmer suit. She seemed more comfortable. Her movements became lighter. She began to laugh in her own quiet way, soft. Musical notes that echoed like wind chimes in water. Leo started to understand her better. She didn't speak much, but when she did, her words mattered. She noticed small things, like the color of the sky screen above the station or the rhythm of footsteps in the hallway. One evening, Leo asked, "Do Nihilari ever dream?" Renari floated inside her dome, light dancing around her. "Yes, we dream. Through the flow of water, memories move like waves in our minds." "What do you dream about?" She paused, then answered softly, "Sometimes I dream about the surface, about walking beside someone, about being seen and not feared." Leo nodded slowly. "You're not alone anymore." Renari tilted her head. "That is what I am." Learning. Their science project was almost ready. The energy device they built was small but powerful. To use gentle water pressure and the glowing Nihilari crystal to store energy safely. Leo handled the tech design, while Renari shaped the water flow with her delicate control. Professor Tano, an old insect-like alien, came to test their project. He watched as Renari waved her hand slowly, and a ring of water lifted the crystal into place. Leo pressed a button, and the device glowed with a soft hum. "Excellent teamwork," Professor Tano said. "Very unusual design. Water and crystal balance. Very rare. I am impressed." Leo smiled. "We just combined what we know."
So, Professor?
Turned to Renari, "You should be proud. Most Nihilari do not join mixed classes." Renari nodded respectfully. "I am learning that connection is a kind of strength." Later that night, Leo sat on his bed reading when he noticed a soft tapping sound. It was coming from inside Rainari's dome. He looked up. Renari had turned off the shimmer field. Her face, still covered, was visible behind the clear glass. She pointed to the drawing on his shelf, the one she gave him weeks ago. "Do you still keep it?" she asked through the dome speaker. "Of course," Leo replied. "It means a lot." Renari was quiet for a moment. "Oh, you did not laugh when you saw my true form. You did not run, I told you," Leo said with a small smile. "I saw beauty, not fear." "On my world," she said slowly, "only 2 people saw me without my suit. My brother, and now you." Leo's eyes widened. "That's a big thing." She nodded once. "I trust you." The silence between them wasn't empty. It was peaceful. The next day, a message arrived from the University Council. There would be a public science fair for all students. Teams could present their work in front of everyone on the main floor of the space station. Leo was excited. "We should enter our project. It's working perfectly." But Renari hesitated. "There will be many people," so Leo asked. She looked away. "Some may not accept me. If they see my hands or hear my voice clearly, they may react badly." Leo paused, then said gently, We'll go only if you're ready. I won't make you do anything. Renari was silent, but her eyes softened. They began preparing anyway, just in case. Leo built a better frame for their device. He painted it with calming blue colors. Renari made the water container smoother, more controlled. The crystal glowed. Brighter now. During practice, Renari even removed her shimmer gloves for a few minutes, just in front of Leo. Her hands, if they could be called that, were made of long, flowing light that moved like silk in water. She shaped the water without touching it. The way it responded to her was almost magical. Leo watched in wonder. You could teach people so much if they saw this. Perhaps, Renari said, but only if they see with open hearts. One night, a small emergency alert blinked on their screens. There had been a system error in the lower decks. Oxygen lines were unstable. All students were asked to stay in their rooms for safety. Leo frowned. Do you think it's serious? Unknown, Renari said. But I feel something strange in the air pressure. She floated closer to the wall. Her dome lights dimmed as she focused. Suddenly, the room lights flickered. Then a loud crash echoed through the hallway. Leo stood up. I'm going to check before he could leave. The door opened suddenly. A small group of students rushed. In one of them was Tycho from the Alien Culture Club. Emergency, he shouted. There's a ship outside the station. They're blocking communications. What kind of ship? Leo asked quickly. Tycho looked afraid. XR and Raiders. Hate mixed species. They say aliens like the Nihilari are dangerous. Renari stiffened inside her dome. Leo stepped closer to her. It's going to be okay. But Renari whispered, No. The Zarn destroyed one of our colonies long ago. They fear our powers. They hurt those who don't fight back. Voice trembled, but only slightly. Leo looked at the others. We need a plan. Renari turned toward him. Her glow was dim but steady. I can help. The room was tense. Leo, Renari, Tycho, and two other students sat close together. The door locked. Outside, the emergency lights flashed red. The space station was quiet, too quiet. Something was wrong. The Zarn Raiders hate peaceful species, Tycho said, whispering. They believe only strong, warlike kinds should rule space. Leo frowned. But this is a school, a peaceful place. They don't care, Renari said softly. Her glow had dimmed slightly. To them, peace is weakness. One of the other students, a tall girl with antennae, said they already damaged the outer coms. If they break into the main control room, we could lose power, oxygen, everything. Leo stood up. Then we'd have to stop them. We can't just sit here. Tycho shook his head. We don't have weapons. We're just students. Raineri's eyes glowed faintly.
We don't need weapons. We need each other.
The group quickly made a plan. Renari would use her control over water and air pressure. Leo would carry the water energy device. They could use it to power doors or systems if the raiders shut them down. Tycho and the others would guide them. Through the side tunnels, Leo and Renari moved first. Now, they went down the emergency ladder shafts where small lights blinked weakly. The halls smelled like hot metal and burnt wires. Leo carried the device carefully. It was warm, like a beating heart. Renari floated beside him in her shimmer suit, but her voice was calm. The Zarn may not know this station fully. We have an advantage. Leo nodded. We know the layout. As they reached the lower level, they heard sounds, footsteps, metal clinks, strange whispers in another language. They're close, Renari whispered. Suddenly a sharp voice shouted, Hey! Stop right there. Two tall figures appeared. Their armor was black with glowing red lines. Zarn, Raiders. Leo froze, held the device tighter. But Renari stepped forward, slowly. She removed her shimmer hood. Her real face, glowing softly, faced the Raiders. One of the Raiders laughed. Annihilari, how perfect. We'll take you first. Then something strange happened. Renari raised her hands not to fight, but to call. The air around them grew moist. Tiny water droplets floated from the walls, from the pipes, from the floor. They gathered around her, spinning slowly like a dance. Then, with a gentle wave, Renari sent a wave of mist toward the raiders. Not too hurt, but too blind, the raiders shouted, stumbling back. What? What is this? Leo grabbed Raineri's arm. Now, they ran. They reached the small power hub at the end of the corridor. It was dim, with sparks flying from the control screen. Leo placed the device on the table. Let's hook it in. We can boost the station's inner defenses. Renari nodded and lifted her glowing hand. The crystal inside the device began to pulse. Water from nearby pipes bent gently toward the system port. With a soft click, the lights turned on. Doors locked. A soft alarm sounded. Security grid restored. A robotic voice said. Leo grinned. Yes, that should slow them down. But just then, a loud boom came from the hallway. The raiders had followed them. This time, there were more 5 of them. Leo stepped in front of Renari. You can't have her. One of the Zarn stepped forward. I protect her. She's not one of you. Renari raised her voice clear and strong. I am Nihilari. I am not weak. I protect life, not take it. The Zarn sneered. Then you'll be the first we silence. But just as they moved forward, the lights above burst. A rush of water, cold and thick, filled the hall from the broken pipe above. The water moved like it was alive. It bent, turned twisted under Raineri's control. She lifted both hands slowly. The water wrapped around the raider's arms. And legs like ropes, they shouted, trying to break free, but the water held strong. Leo watched in awe. Renari, you're amazing. Adored him, eyes calm. We don't fight with weapons. We fight with balance. The station guards arrived minutes later. They had managed to regain partial control thanks to the system. Leo and Renari had fixed. The Zarn raiders were taken into custody. The station was safe again. Leo and Renari were taken to the council hall. Many students were gathered there. Some were scared, some confused, but all were curious. A large screen showed a recording. Someone had seen the moment Renari stopped the raiders. With her water power, the video had already spread across the campus. There was silence. Then someone clapped. Then another. Then more. Soon, the whole room was filled with applause. Later, in their room, Renari sat inside her water dome, shimmer suit off for the first time in public. Her true form glowed softly in the dim light. Leo sat near the glass. How do you feel? Exposed, she said honestly, but not afraid. Leo smiled. Everyone saw you. They saw the real you. Renari looked thoughtful. Always feared that if others saw my true form, they would reject me. But now? Leo asked. She looked at him now, I think. They will see a protector, a friend. Leo nodded. They already do. The next day, the space station felt different. Students walked through the halls with new energy. Everyone talked about the rescue, about the Zarn raiders, especially about the Nihilari, girl who had stopped them using only water and light. Rainari's name was now known across the academy. Some students looked at her with respect. Others still kept their distance. But no one laughed. No one mocked her. Leo was proud, but he also saw something else in Renari. She was quiet again, not afraid but thoughtful. She floated inside her water dome, watching the waves move with each small breath. You okay? Leo asked one evening, walking to his side of the room. I'm thinking, she replied. About the attack? About what comes next? She said softly. Now that they know? Leo sat down. People saw your true self, Renari, and they accepted it. Some did, she said. But others may not. There was a small pause. Then she added, My people will see the video soon. They may not be happy. Our laws are strict. Showing our form to outsiders is not allowed unless in great danger. Leo looked at her. That was a great danger. You saved lives. Yes, Renari said. But tradition runs deep. The school soon returned to normal. Classes restarted. The science fair was moved to next week due to the recent events. Leo and Renari continued working on their project, adjusting the energy system to be more stable. One evening, while walking back from the lab, Leo noticed something strange. A soft alarm rang out, not from the main station, but from the emergency alert panel on his wristband. He stopped. Rainieri's signal just disappeared, said to himself. He ran back to their room. The door was open, the room was dark, and Rainieri's water dome was empty. Leo quickly reported to the control office. The guards looked confused at first, but checked the logs. Then one of them frowned. There was a transport ship that left 10 minutes ago. It wasn't authorized. Who was on it? Leo asked. The guard scanned the records. Unknown. But I think the Tsar left someone behind, a spy. And now he's taken a hostage. Leo's heart dropped. Rainieri, the guard nodded. We believe so. Leo couldn't wait for rescue teams. He knew every hallway, every hatch, every secret tunnel in the academy by now. With help from Tycho and some other students, he got access to the small scout ship used for training flights. He launched it alone. The stars raced by as he followed the stolen ship's trail. The signal was weak, but the tracker inside Rainieri's shimmer suit gave just enough data to follow. After 20 minutes, he found the ship near a small asteroid belt. It was floating in place. Leo landed his scout quietly and sneaked aboard. Inside, the halls were narrow and dark. Lights flickered. The smell of burned fuel filled the air. He moved carefully until he heard voices. She's dangerous, said. A rough voice? They'll pay a good price for her. It was the Tsar's spy. He stood near a control panel, looking at a sealed chamber where Rainieri was trapped. She floated inside, not moving. Her glow was dim. Force field held her inside. Leo's eyes narrowed. He tapped his wristband and quietly connected to the panel. The water energy device was still with him, attached to his belt. He whispered, "Let's see if this still works." Device hummed softly. The lights in the chamber flickered. The force field blinked once. Rainieri opened her eyes. Leo gave a small nod through the window. She understood. With sudden strength, Rainieri lifted her arms. Water droplets from her own suit began to move. They turned into tiny blades of liquid. The Tsar turned around too late. The water struck the control panel not to harm, but to break the lock. The field dropped. Leo kicked the door open and ran. In. Let's go. Rainieri floated out quickly. The Tsar tried to grab her, but this time Rainieri didn't hold back. She spun in the air and a stream of water wrapped around his legs, pulling him to the ground. Together they ran back to the scout ship. As they escaped, Rainieri placed her glowing hand on the ship's console. The water crystal pulsed again, helping power the small ship faster. "Thank you," she said quietly, as the stars sped past them. "You'd do the same for me?" Leo replied. She looked at him with soft eyes. "I already did." Back at the station, cheers broke out when the scout ship returned. Students and teachers ran to meet them. Rainieri was safe. The Tsar's spy was caught. The headmaster called a full assembly. He asked Leo and Rainieri to stand in front of the school. "You have shown true courage," the headmaster said. "And true friendship." The students clapped loudly. Even the teachers smiled with pride. Rainieri looked at them all. Then she slowly stepped out of her dome. This time, she wore no suit. Her glowing form shimmered like water under moonlight. Her tendrils moved softly. She stood tall, proud, and unafraid. No one said a word for a moment. The hall was quiet. Then came applause. Real, honest applause. Rainieri smiled. She had revealed her truth, and the world had not turned away. Life on the space station slowly returned to normal. The halls no longer echoed with sirens. The lights shone bright again. Students walked freely, talking, laughing, studying together as before. But something had changed. Something important now. When Rainieri passed through the corridors, people greeted her. Some smiled. A few bowed slightly. Others just looked with wide, curious eyes, not in fear, but in respect. She still floated quietly in her water dome. But she no longer wore her shimmer suit. She no longer hid herself. Her true, form-flowing, glowing, graceful was now accepted, and Leo was always beside her. The science fair finally arrived. The main hall was full of booths, machines, screens, and strange alien devices. Students from many species showed off their projects. stood their stays. Their water energy device sat at the center. It was simple, glowing with a soft blue pulse. A group of teachers came to judge. One of them, a human, raised his eyebrows. Water-based tech, it's rare. Another teacher, a plant-like being, touched the edge of the device. Very stable. What powers it? Renari stepped forward. Her voice was clear. It uses low-pressure water flow and Nihilari crystal memory. Leo built the circuit core. I control the balance of motion, Leo smiled. We built it together. Teachers whispered to each other, then nodded. This is more than a science project, one said. This is a symbol. They moved on, but Leo and Renari stood tall. Later, when the results were announced, they were awarded first place. Everyone clapped. But the award wasn't what made Renari smile. What mattered more was the way others saw her now with open eyes and open hearts. That night, back in their room, Leo hung the award on the wall. Not bad, huh? Renari floated inside her dome, soft light around her. I never dreamed of standing on a stage without my suit. Never thought I could, but you did, Leo said. You were brave. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, do you remember the first night you saw me? When you walked into the bath by mistake? Leo nodded. Of course. I thought you would hate me. I was afraid, she admitted. I thought you would scream or tell others. You didn't? He smiled. I just saw someone trying to live. She looked at him. That moment changed everything, because you didn't turn away. One day a message arrived from the Nihilari homeworld. It was from the Elder Circle, the leaders of Rhinari's people. The message read, We have seen your face. We have seen your courage. You broke the old rule, but you did it to save life. And you showed that the galaxy can accept us. We are proud. Turn when ready. We will listen. Renari read the message twice, then looked at Leo. They accepted it. Leo's eyes widened. It's great. It's that they want me to return for. A short time to speak, to tell my story. Leo's smile faded a little. You're leaving? Only for a visit? She said. Ouch. And when I come back, maybe I won't be the only Nihilari who walks without fear. Leo nodded. You're going to change everything, aren't you? Not alone, Renari said. You helped me. You saw me. You stayed. Before she left, they stood together at the viewing deck. Stars stretched across the sky. A transport ship waited nearby, glowing softly. I'll miss our late-night project talks, Leo said, smiling. I'll miss your Earth snacks, Renari replied, especially the spicy round ones. Chili chips, Leo said with a laugh. I'll save a bag. Renari looked out at the stars. When I first came here, I only wanted to study. I planned to stay silent, invisible. Leo nodded. And now, she turned to him. Now I want to speak, to share, to be seen. There was a pause, and she added, You didn't change me, Leo. You helped me remember who I really was. Stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. Then Renari floated toward the ship. She stopped at the door, looked back, and said in her calm musical voice, You didn't look away. That's what saved me. And with that, she entered the ship. Weeks passed. Leo returned to his classes, still worked on projects, still explored, still ate chili chips. But something was different. He had learned that true friendship isn't about how someone looks, or where they come from. It's about trust, respect, and choosing to stand beside someone, even when the world tells you to turn away. One evening, as he returned to his room, a small envelope lay on his bed. He opened it. Inside was a drawing. It showed two figures standing side by side, one human, one Nihilari. Above them was written a single word in both languages. Together. Leo smiled and placed the drawing next to the first one she had ever given him.